Hi guys, Gary here with Gary Clayton Photography, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, so today we're actually doing three things at once, I guess. First of all, we're testing a new external microphone that I picked up from Amazon.com, and I am testing this on my GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black Edition. So that's one of the cameras I use for my vlogging, and that's what I'm using right now. So one thing we're doing is testing that new external microphone, and if it's good or bad, I will at some point do a review and let you all know. Secondly, we're also doing a flight test today on a drone that I use. Now, this is a Phantom 3 drone that I use, but lately I've been having a lot of trouble with the software. It could be the device I'm using. I don't know for sure. I have talked to DJI about this, but yesterday I scrubbed the device totally clean. I reinstalled the DJI Go app, which is something that's used to control the cameras and so on the drone itself. So today we're going to see if we've solved the problem. If not, it's again work in progress. I may actually have to upgrade my device that I'm using. So we are going to test that out today. Thirdly, you may recall, if you watched the video called The Tree, we were down near the town of Creemore. We were shooting a tree that day. Well, whilst we were doing that, I did notice a couple of nice old barns. Now, I do like to shoot barns. You'll notice this if you've watched some of my other videos and seen some of my images. I actually love shooting some of the old barns here in Ontario. They're really quite interesting, and they're slowly going away. They're not being replaced. They're big barns, and they're just not being replaced. As they get old, they're just left to kind of deteriorate, or some farmers are just tearing them down and actually selling off the old lumber, I guess, to build kind of a reclaimed lumber furniture, which is very popular and quite expensive. So the old lumbers in some of these barns is actually worth a lot more than having the barn there itself. But anyhow, today, as I say, that's what we're going to shoot. We're going to shoot a couple of those barns. Now, a couple of things I'd like to point out. First of all, no, it's not 6 o'clock in the morning. I wish it was, because this morning we had an absolutely amazing sunrise. But unfortunately, I was involved with other work that I have to do. So I just could not get out here for that golden hour of the morning. Right now it's about 10:15 a.m. in the morning, so the sun's up high in the sky. It's a bright sunny day and pretty much constant steady blue sky, although there is a little bit of a high cirrus cloud forming here and there, so that might help us. So for me personally, it's not my ideal conditions for landscape photography. I like a little bit more of a grayer or sky, or I like a sky with some really interesting cloud. This is going to would add to a backdrop, and not necessarily bright sunshine. I like the diffused light of an overcast sky quite often. So today is not a perfect day or time to be out doing landscape photography. But I also have another theory, and that is this. If 10 o'clock in the morning is the only time that day that you can get out and shoot, then you know what? That's the best time to go. So that's my theory. 10 o'clock's the time I could get out, and so here we are. And with that being said, it's obviously the best time today to go shoot landscape photography. So that's what we're going to do. So anyhow, we're going to be arriving in about 5 or 10 minutes or so at the destination that we're going to, or the first of maybe 2 locations. We'll see how we make out and how time allows us to do today. The first thing we're going to do when we get there is test the drone, and that will give us some aerial footage, assuming that my changes to the software are successful. I'm a little bit doubtful. I think I might have to change my device that I'm using. Right now, just for interest, if anybody's really into the Phantom 3 drones, I am using a Moto G smartphone as my controlling device. Now, it's not on the list of approved or compatible devices for that DJI Go app. However, there are a lot of guys out there using this particular phone. And there's a lot of guys using lots of smart devices, tablets and phones that are not approved or not necessarily 100% compatible. But we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. So anyhow, stay tuned. We will be back in a few minutes, and we're going to set up some gear, and we're going to shoot some barns. And let's have some fun. Okay guys, so now we're going to set up some gear. I've picked a position that is pretty much straight on as far as the barn is concerned. Obviously you're going to be seeing the barn in a moment, but we are going to set up some gear. We're going to have a look and just see how this looks today. Super bright out. Temperature wise, it's about minus 5 degrees Celsius, give or take a little bit, but because of the sunshine, it doesn't actually feel quite as cold. Yeah, because of the sunshine, it doesn't kind of feel quite as cold, so that's kind of nice. Although it's still cold on the fingers, you can feel that, that's for sure. But anyhow, let's have a look. Definitely going to use the lens hood today. But we're going to set up. I'm using my Canon 7D today. It's a camera I use a lot, but it's not necessarily my primary landscape camera. My primary landscape camera, or a camera I really like to use for landscape, is my Canon 50D. I think it does a great job. I really love that. But so does my 7D. This is a great camera too. In fact, you know, theoretically, it's better. It's newer. It's a better technology. Has a better sensor than my 50D. But I just like my 50D. It's kind of, you know, I like how it feels in the hand. It's kind of nostalgic a little bit. I've had it for quite a while. I'm very familiar with it. So I really enjoy using my 50D. But I'm not knocking my 7D. It's a beautiful camera. And this is, I use a lot for like weddings, portrait shots, this type of stuff. Again, simply because the sensor is more tolerant to low light. So, let's have a look. Well, certainly bright, that's for sure. Yeah, better get my glasses on. There, got my glasses. Now I might be able to see something. Oh, that's better. Now I can see. Well, that looks good. You know what? That looks actually pretty good right there. I'm liking that. Let's just take a quick shot. Exposure-wise, it's really fine. And right there we have f8. We have 1/500th of a second at ISO 100. I mean, 1/500th of a second, you can tell it's very, very bright out here today, and we may have a look at putting some ND filters on there too. I don't think we need a polarizer today. The sun's pretty much behind me, maybe off slightly to my left, and there's really no reflective glares of any kind. So I don't think we need the polarizer, but we might slow things down a little bit with an ND filter, but we'll have a look at that in a moment. Anyhow, I tell you what, I'm going to continue setting up. I'm going to look at the composition, and we're going to come back to you in a second. Okay, so this is what we've been doing. We've been having a look at the composition. I have put a 4-stop ND filter on this lens. I've also put a 4-stop graduated ND filter on this lens. And the reason I've done that is I want to deepen down the sky wide a bit, so I've got a total of 8 stops on the sky. The barn itself is quite dark, but it is getting a little bit of extra light coming in from all the white snow around it. So I just wanted to bring that down slightly and just slow things down slightly. So that's why I have the 4-stop as the filter. With that, it's giving me at f8 and an ISO of 100. I'm now down to a 100th of a second. Without any filters, if you recall, we were at 500th of a second. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. And that's what we're doing. Let's see how we're making out. So that's a nice composition there. At that last shot, as you can see, I'm showing you this image right now. As you can see, I've got the barn in the left side, left kind of corner, and I kind of like that shot. I'm hoping that these wispy kind of cirrus clouds are going to come through and add a little character to the sky. I've been searching for something that I can use to give some interest in the foreground, and I'm really not coming up with anything at the moment. But maybe if I can change location slightly, I can find something. But it's just a big sheet of white snow as a foreground. But again, it's a beautiful day. We're having a lot of fun. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'm kind of enjoying that. I believe we're getting some reasonable images. We'll see once we get them into Lightroom and take a closer look at things. Boy, it's bright out here. I should have a shade on this screen because I can't see a damn thing. Oh well. See what the Instagram has to say, and I can't even see that very well. I think it looks okay. I think the exposure is looking pretty good. But I tell you what I'm going to do next. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to do a couple of bracketed shots. So I'm going to do a shot of what I think is the right exposure, and then I'll go 1 and 2 stops under, and I'll go 1 and 2 stops over. If you saw my video of the tree, you'll have seen me doing exactly the same thing. And that's something I tend to do, especially on a bright day like today, because I'm just not 100% sure about the exposure. So that way it gives me more data to work with in Lightroom. So that's what we'll do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take a couple of shots under, a couple of shots over, see how we make out. Guys, so that's a wrap for that particular shoot. We've got some interesting shots. We're going to go back to the studio. We're going to go grab a cup of coffee first and get warmed up. But we're going to go back to the studio. We're going to pop those into Lightroom. We're going to take a little look. So yeah, it's been a really interesting day so far. We're checking the microphone, which we're doing right now on the GoPro, see how that works out. We had a successful launch and flight of the drone. Everything's working 100% there now, so that's good. I'm happy with the new software changes and downloads that we've done, so perfect. So let's see if we can finish off the day with a nice shot of this barn. We'll see you in a bit. So yeah, we're now in the town of Creemore. We can go get our coffee and get warmed up a little bit. It's a beautiful little community, and I just noticed the sun started to come out. There's some blues turning into the sky now, so that's kind of nice. Creemore's a beautiful little community, and I try to get down here when I can. I love photographing in this area, and there are some great shots to be had down here. But anyhow, we're going to head back to the studio now. And we're going to take a look at the images, see what we can work on, see what we can do with the images we collected this morning. We'll talk to you in a little bit. See you later.